All right, Jack, it's so great to have you here at the Christmas party celebration. Um,
Great to be here.
so Jack Vanderplug serves on the board of Much Ministries and is a great joy, but mostly he's just got a lot of wisdom. So we love having Jack for sure on the board. So Jack, can you just start by telling us a little bit about your background in business? Because you specifically come to Much with a business background and you work in Haiti with a business mindset. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, this is a little unusual, so bear with me. It's kind of an interesting question for me. I started in business at 8 years old.
Okay.
I had this idea that there was no reason I couldn't make money. My parents didn't have much, but their goal was to send their kids to a Christian school. So we never had enough money around, just, spending money for me. So I found a strawberry farm, and my mom would drop me off on Saturday mornings, and I would pick strawberries all day. I got paid 10 cents a quart, or I could buy a quart for 10 cents. So I would buy enough to fill up my mother's car when she came to pick me up. So if I did 100 quarts of strawberries, I got paid 10, and I bought back $5 worth and loaded up the car. Then I took them home and I peddled them on the street and sold them all for 30 cents. So I always had money in my pocket. When I was 10 to 12, I started doing landscaping and yard work for 5 families in our town. When I was 12 and 14, I had a paper route and collected newspapers from everybody I could think of and stored them in my garage until I could bring them down to a recycler and made some money that way.
Wow, okay.
When I was 14 to 16, I worked in a bowling alley setting up pins. 16 to 19, I started work after school with a CPA and worked for a CPA for 3 years. Went into the Air Force, was in there for 6 years. Well, I went to college first for 2 years, majored in accounting. Then I went in the Air Force for 6 years as a finance officer. Went back to college at Florida State and got my degree. So after the military, I came back to New Jersey and went to a company that was in the feed business, animal feed, and we also had slaughterhouses. I worked there for 14 years. I started off as their accountant for the Eastern Division, became their controller in Wisconsin, and then the executive vice president. We grew that company in 14 years from about $6 million in sales to $200 million in sales.
Wow.
Then I left and I bought my own company. It's called Zero Zone Incorporated. We were in the commercial refrigeration business. So if you walk into a supermarket and see a refrigerated case with a door in the front of it, that was our specialty. I was there 18 years, I was the owner, I was a CEO and president, and we grew that company from 6 million in sales to 240 million in 18 years. 34 people to 450 people. Both of the two companies, the feed company and the refrigeration company, we always had other businesses. With the feed company, I ran a municipal airport, or had a manager running an airport for me. We had a gourmet restaurant and a manager worked for me. We had an IndyCar team and a manager worked for me. And then while I was there too, we started up our own little business and we raised a lot of calves for the veal business, is what the business we were in. So, and even in the Zero Zone business, we always did other things while we were being successful. Some of them failed, and some of them worked out extremely well. So, yeah, that's our. And then, of course, now in Haiti, I've been working almost 20 years in Haiti with Partners Worldwide, and I mentor small businesses. And it doesn't matter what kind of business, because we're at the very low level of teaching them how business operates.
Yeah, so that's where we met you, was through Partners Worldwide, and you were training entrepreneurs at that point when we met you, and then we just developed. You would come and sit and listen to us talk and give us advice, and to Beaver and I when we were in Gonaive, and so then we asked you if you'd be willing to serve on our board and bring all that wisdom
Right.
that you're already working in country with. So, and you agreed to do that, which we were extremely, and still are extremely grateful. So what drew you to come to work with Much?
Your husband.
Oh,
I'm working in Gonaive with Partners Worldwide, and I met Beaver. I met you first. You were on the board with Partners in that city for a while, and then I met Beaver, and we got along so well, and he didn't have the depth necessarily to do what he was trying to do, and we spent a lot of time talking, and we had a nice time doing it, and I got very, very interested in his vision, and it became my vision too. And what can you do? It was I felt like a Christian businessman. This is something I could jump into with Beaver.
On your investment, and this is an important question, you do expect an ROI. It's not a normal financial return on your investment that you would have with other businesses, but I know that you are looking for something. And so can you kind of explain to people what that is as a philanthropic person who invests in this kind of work? What is it you're looking for?
Actually, I've already got it. In all these years I've worked, I have been rewarded by God over and over and over. And this is payback time. I'm not expecting an ROI per se. How can I say it? I've done a lot of kingdom work before today. I spent 12 years on the board of Bethany Christian Services. I've spent 6 years on the board of Partners Worldwide. I still feel I should be in Haiti working. I'm not looking for any kind of financial reward, but the reward I'm looking for is success in this project. And to me, we're doing God's work. We're going to provide something that this area of Haiti doesn't have. And if we can be successful and show people, because there's tremendously good people there, and there's people who have money to run businesses and so on. If we can show them that something like this, from the bottom, build it up, can be done in Haiti. Yeah. That reward would be so much for me, because I think that's our job now. We have to be pleasing to God. We have to do His service, and this is a way for a businessman to do that service. I'm not a preacher and I'm not a teacher. I'll never be one of those. But as a businessman, I've had a tremendous amount of experience, and I can help. And that's what I think, why the Lord, I think, rewarded me so much during my life. It's so I can continue doing these kind of things. So once it's over, I may be off doing something else, but once we get this thing up and running and successful, it's running smoothly, you don't need me around. So I may be looking for something else at that point. But it may go on for 10 years before that happens, so we'll see.
We hope not. We like to all work ourselves out of a job.
That's right.
So that's kind of the goal. Yeah. So can you share anything that surprised you that you've learned while, working in Haiti? It's such a learning experience, but I just wonder if you got anything special you'd like to share with our people at the party today.
Well, I've been working down there almost 20 years.
Yeah.
The thing that surprises me the most today is the problem that NGOs, the governments of the US, Canada, European countries that think they're helping Haiti. And they're not. They're just wasting their money. It goes into a big black hole. And to think that just a few small NGOs understand the problem and start providing for people instead of giving stuff away and making the country and the people totally dependent. The best thing that happens in Haiti is the Haitians here in our country. Over $2.4 billion gets sent to Haiti to family and friends from the US. That is what's keeping Haiti alive. Not the government money, not the government projects, because they never get done. They never satisfy what needs to be done in Haiti. And this is not the first country I've seen it. I worked some in Zambia and in Uganda along the way too, and I saw all this happening in Uganda over and over, except for a few nonprofits that were training children in business, training them, giving them jobs, helping them along the way. These kids were graduating college and coming back to Haiti to do the work, for the children there. That's what we have to do. And this, I think, with this project and much as companies and whatever, Second Story Goods, ProLead, and Marketplace, between the three, we're showing how business can work in Haiti, and they're all successful. They're all going to be successful once we get this building done. And so, to me, that's the proof for Haiti. And I hope this model can be extended throughout the country, because we know it works. It works here in the United States. Why wouldn't it work there? People are people.
Yeah. And
people in Haiti are very industrious. That's no surprise. No surprises anymore. I've been through 2 earthquakes, 2 hurricanes, and 4 or 5 presidents in that country. And from the time I went first time till now, nothing has changed. Regardless of how much money has been pumped into that country, it's still the same. So we got a lot of work to do.
What advice would you give to someone today who came to you and said, I have a $5 million foundation. I feel led to go do something in Haiti. What, I know this wasn't a question that I wrote down for you, but I'd really love to hear your answer to that.
First of all, to go for a grant like that, you have to have a big project. But what my dream was, and Partners Worldwide is in 10 cities now, and my dream was that we could build up, I was thinking middle-sized businesses, because those small businesses are normally the ones that can find ways to grow and hire more people. Unfortunately, we end up in these cities as working with the very smallest single-person businesses. It's working, but it's very, very slow. And they think their big problem is lack of funds. It may be, but it's not the first problem. The first problem they have is learning business, how to be a business person. Once that's taught to them, then I think that our obligation is to not give him money, but lend him money. Show him how to handle finances, that he has to pay back a loan. I've done a lot of this in Haiti. I lost a lot of money trying, but I think that is the way for us to get small companies to grow, is with loans and giveaways. If you give it away, they use it up and it's gone. If you give them a loan, they may be small, and work with them to utilize that money in his business and have him pay it back, that starts to work. That starts to sink in with most of the business people down in Haiti.
Mm. Yeah.
The $5 million, that's a lot of small loans.
Yeah.
And we can't even find a savings and loan or a bank in the country so far that would work with the business people. They would be happy to make loans. If we guarantee it, then they don't get paid back. We have to pay it ourselves. But to work with them and teach them business and business ethics, nobody's interested. So we have to get our people to do it ourselves. Now, 5 of our 10 cities now have their own savings and loan. People are contributing, business people are contributing to it, and they have a staff that's administering it and loaning the money out. So far, I think there's only been one default in all the loans that have been made out. And so it's very promising as we keep moving forward. Because of the virus, we've taken it upon ourselves to take an extra step, and that's to join their savings and loan ourselves. We make the loan to them at a 0 or 1% interest rate, with terms the savings loan has to pay us back. But if they have $5,000 in there, if they did it themselves, $5,000 that they're loaning, because of the virus, we're willing to step up and give them $5,000 to administer on our behalf for more loans. And we have 3 of them have now applied. And so my next stop here is Wisconsin, where a lot of my files are. And I'm going to develop then the loan agreement, which I have in Wisconsin, that we can use between us and the savings and loan itself. So that's going to give them a boost in what they can do in their cities.
Yeah.
So, and now all of a sudden the other 5 cities are very eager to start their own savings and loan.
I'm sure.
Looking for matching funds.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. There's something about when money is your money, like your own money, you respect it so much, and it needs to do what you need it to do.
Yep.
And I think from your history of starting work at 8 years old, you're like in nature to you. That,
I got a quarter for allowance. Okay, what can even an 8-year-old do with a quarter?
Yeah.
Back then I could go to a movie, but you know.
Yeah. So it's when you think of money as a tool, something that you use, not something that you spend. Right. I think that's the key for business, to think of money that way. And it takes a little while for startup businesses to get that mindset that we're going to use this money to bring in more, to invest more in the company and bring in more money. And if you don't do it that way, like all the free money that just comes into the country,
just spend it.
If there's no accountability for what's done with it,
exactly,
then it just falls through people's fingers, and you can't. Yeah. I have a theory that one of the greatest needs in developing communities, whether it could be developing countries or developing worlds, is really good accountants. Accounting systems are, you know, as an artist, that is not the way my brain works. Yeah. I don't bring that to the table. I really, really appreciate it when it comes to the table.
The problem in Haiti with accounting is, it's kind of a funny one. We're teaching accounting, okay, with partners. Then we find out that they basically use the French system of accounting, which is quite different. and we don't know that system.
Yeah.
So we're trying on a regular basis, we're trying to find accountants that are local in Haiti that are willing to join partners with our business. Join partners as with your business and use your people to teach people accounting systems, French, if that's what they want to do. And I know Daniel, he has a French accountant and has a French system that I don't understand the way they're doing it. But apparently it works. So how am I to correct them?
Yeah, as long as it works and everything is accounted for.
Exactly. So
Kathy.